Hello everyone, thanks for joining me for another video looking at the music that's meant something special to me, inspired me over the years. We're trying to get through the alphabet on these things, and we're on the letter D at the moment. We'll have a sort of feature on Bob Dylan probably next time, but this one I wanted to show basically two artists, two bands that I absolutely love, from kind of a similar period in time really, and we're talking about Drury and the Blockheads and Devo. Now Devo, American band, first discovered them in around 77, I think it would have been. They had brought a single out of Can't Get No Satisfaction, Stones track, and I bought it, and it was just a time when I was starting to collect lots of punk singles, coloured vinyl singles and interesting weird things, and the Devo track blew me away, and I absolutely sort of started following them and getting all their stuff. And over the years my interest in the band has never really waned. I mean, they've had a lot of period when there's not much going on, but up until quite recently they were quite active. Why do I like Devo? I think that they're inventive, I think they're great fun, I think they're good musicians, and the music's just not quite like anything else that you hear. So when I'm listening to it, I'm sort of picking up on the tightness of the playing, first of all, when you hear the live tracks, and obviously they're great fun to watch live when they perform it, because they perform it, it is a complete performance, dressed up in their Devo garb. It's great fun to watch. I find it really stimulating, inventive, interesting music. I think the main word I would use for them is interesting. And different, but the music's great. So I think I've only chosen three or four tracks, maybe 3 or 4 tracks to play, all but one's live, and it's just literally a tiny sample of Devo. There's lots of different types of songs that they've done, but anyway, these are the ones I was able to put up from CD. Ian Drury, he was kind of one of these sort of eccentric geniuses that Britain brings up now and again. Landana, I'm proud of it, and he again was just captivating musician really, fantastic voice, fantastic attitude to life and to everything, and he really was somebody that when he started speaking you just stopped and listened to what he had to say, because it was usually something interesting and or funny, and he was a great person, great man. Sadly died of cancer too early, but again, just a few selections, some live, some studio, just to give a sample of what he was all about. So this is my little tribute to Devo and Ian Drury. So I hope you enjoy it.
Sex and drugs and rock and roll is all my brain and body need. Sex and drugs and rock and roll is very good indeed. Keep your silly ways or throw them out the window. The wisdom of your ways, I've been there and I know lots of other ways. What a jolly bad show if all you ever do is business you don't like. Sex and drugs and rock and roll. Sex and drugs and rock and roll. Sex and drugs and rock and roll is very good indeed. Every bit of clothing ought to make you pretty. You can cut the clothing, grey is such a pity. I should wear the clothing of Mr. Walter Mitty. See my tailor, he's called Simon, I know it's going to fit. Here's a little bit of advice, you're quite welcome, it is free. Don't do nothing that is cut price, you know what that'll make you be. They will try their tricky device, trap you with the ordinary. Get your teeth into a small slice, the cake of liberty. Sex and drugs and rock and roll. 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 Reasons to be cheerful, part 3. 1, 2, 3. Summer Buddy Holly, the working folly, good golly Miss Molly, and boats. Hammersmith Parry, the Bolshoi Bally, jump back in the alley, add nanny goats. 18-wheeler camels, Dominica camels, all other mammals plus equal boats. Seeing Piccadilly, Fanny Smith and Willie, being rather silly, and porridge oats. I better grin and bear it, I better come and share it. You're welcome, we can spare it. Yellow socks, too short to be haughty, too nutty to be naughty. Going on 40, no electric shocks. The juice of the carrot, the smile of the parrot, a little drop of claret, anything that rocks. Elvis and Scotty, days when I ain't spotty, sitting on the potty, curing smallpox. Reasons to be cheerful, part 3. Reasons to be cheerful, part 3. Reasons to be cheerful, part 3. Reasons to be cheerful, 1, 2, 3. Reasons to be cheerful, part 3. Health service classes, gigolos and brasses, round or skinny bottoms. Taking mum to Paris, lighting up the chalice, Wee Willie Harris. Bantu Stephen Biko, listening to Rico, Harper Groucho Chico. Cheddar cheese and pickle, the Vincent motorcycle, slap and tickle. Woody Allen Darley, Dimitri and Pasquale, Balla 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 and Valari. Something nice to study, phoning up a buddy, being in my nuddy. Saying okie dokie, sing along a smoky, coming out a chokey. John Coltrane soprano, Eddie Celentano, Bona Carlino. Reasons to be cheerful. Part 3. Reasons to be cheerful. Part 3. Reasons to be cheerful. Part 3. Reasons to be cheerful. 1, 2, 3. Yes, yes, dear, dear, perhaps next year, or maybe even never. In which case... Cheerful, part 3. Reasons to be cheerful, part 3.
Saying okey-dokey, single of a smoky, coming out of chokey. Jogger face mono, Addy Gelatano, Ron Acolino.
3. Reasons to be cheerful,
Why don't you
part
get back
3.
into bed? Why don't you get back
Reasons
into
to be
bed?
cheerful,
Why
part
don't you get
3.
back into bed? Why don't you get back
Reasons
into
to be
bed?
cheerful,
Why
part
don't you get
3.
back into bed?
Reasons to be cheerful.
1, 2, 3. Why don't you get back into bed? 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 Why don't you get back into bed?
Reasons to be cheerful, part 3. Reasons to be cheerful, part 3. Reasons to be cheerful, part 3. Reasons to be cheerful. 1, 2, 3. Reasons to be cheerful, part 3. Reasons to be cheerful, part 3. Reasons to be cheerful, part 3. Reasons to be cheerful. ain't no nothing worth having. Never, ever, never, 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 ever. You ain't gonna call not to think I want to fall into thinking I ain't too clever. And it ain't either one thing nor not another, either neither is it anything I ever, never had, whatever. And it ain't not knowing and there ain't nothing knowing, and I ask you the name Trevor. However, just cause I ain't never said no, nothing worth saying, never, ever, never, 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 never. Things have been read into what I never said to me mouth becomes me head, which ain't very intelligent. And it ain't the same one thing nor not another, either neither is there anything I ever never said, whatever. And it ain't no proving that there ain't nothing moving, there ain't nothing of trouble. However, knock me down with a feather, clever. Why brows wonder where the clever Trevor's clever. The right to make a clock out of Trevor. What should I be mad about? Something I had such stupidness is mad. Nothing underfoot, there's nothing less to add to a load of old talk. I ain't off, not off lad because there's nowhere to put it. Even if I ain't, I'm a bit of a jack the lad. On the other hand, also, it takes much longer to get up north with Davey Payne and saxophone.